What's up everyone, OJ here. Welcome back to another video, and today we're taking a look at something that you guys have wanted me to talk about for quite some time now, and that is rare Nintendo Switch games or valuable Nintendo Switch games or Nintendo Switch games that could be worth a lot in the future. So I'm kind of playing like a predictor at this point based off of trends, based off of what we've seen before, and giving you guys some information on what you should pick up now at this point before these games are really hard to find physical retail on the Nintendo Switch. Now this is in volumes, so there's going to be more of these. So if you have games that you want me to cover and why, feel free to drop them in the comments below, and I'll pick out some of those and do new volumes hopefully every week or so. We can talk about some different games, we can go over different reasons, and it can be a fun new series on the channel. So hopefully you guys enjoy it. Like, subscribe, comment, hit the notification bell if you're someone new or if you haven't done it yet. Let's go ahead and jump right into this, and we're starting off with Astral Chain on the Nintendo Switch. This is the 2019 Platinum Games developed Nintendo owned IP action RPG game for the Nintendo Switch exclusive, and it's pretty much going to stay on there. So right there, that increases the value just a bit more. But because this game didn't sell 5 million, 6 million, 7 million copies, it's obviously going to become one of those cult hit type of games. It's an incredibly, really good reviewed game, but it didn't sell up to those levels. So Nintendo isn't going to keep printing these Nintendo Switch cartridges as they are not cheap to print. So they're pretty much going to do a first run, maybe a second run, and that is it. So whatever they make, that's what you get. So that's why Astral Chain is a game that you should pick up. It's about $60 right now on the Nintendo Switch new. If you want a brand new copy, if you want a used copy, you might be able to find it a bit cheaper, but this game definitely isn't going to be around a lot longer at these prices. I feel that this is going to jump up to $70, $80, $90 within the next few years based on the fact that this game came out 3 years ago now. It'll be 3 years this summer that the game came out, and it's still $60 plus. It's not going down, it's actually going up. Some people have it at a bit higher than that based off of what prices you're going or what region you're in. And I also wanted to make sure that I kind of also say this too. This is all based off of the Amazon listing pricings, which they do look at what's going on eBay, then kind of adjust to see what's going on in the market. But some of these prices can be different if you're in Europe or on eBay. They do range a bit, but this is generally the asking price that you'll see for brand new games on Amazon at this point, or right around the price point that you'll see on eBay, what people are selling the games for as well. So next up, we're moving into the Xenoblade Chronicles franchise. Xenoblade Chronicles 2, Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition, and Xenoblade Chronicles 2 Torn of the Golden Country on the Nintendo Switch. All of these games are going to be valuable or already valuable. Let's start off from the lowest to the top, and we're starting off with Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition. This is the 2020 remastered release of the original Wii game with some updated textures, some remade faces and hands, some redone stuff, some quality of life features. It's a really good game, and they added a whole new DLC section with the Future Connected, which is going to be very important, tying everything to Xenoblade Chronicles 3. So I highly recommend it. It's only $45 right now, so it's actually cheaper than MSRP, but don't get me wrong on this one, guys, it will be above that. Once all of the launch copies are actually sold, it will be above that. The same thing happened with price drops with Xenoblade Chronicles 2. I saw Xenoblade Chronicles 2 for $50, $45, $47, and then once all of those launch copies were bought up, it shot up, which we're going to talk about right now at this point, and that is moving into the said Xenoblade Chronicles 2. It's about $70 on Amazon right now, but that can go up based on where you're at and where everything is happening. But yeah, $70, which is definitely above the MSRP for a game that came out back in 2017. So it's been a hot minute here, and it's only going to go up from there. I've actually seen prices higher than the $70, so 70 is a bit lower than what I've seen before for the game. So that would actually be somewhat of a steal at this point at $70 if you can get it. Amazon has it here in the US for $70. And then last but definitely not least, Xenoblade Chronicles 2 Torn of the Golden Country. This is the big dog out of all of them. And remember, guys, these prices are for the new versions of the game. If it's used, you might be able to get it cheaper at some places like eBay and all that, but not by much. Now, Xenoblade Chronicles 2 Torna the Golden Country, the NST version. So the North American version of the games are usually more expensive than the European version. So keep that in mind too, guys, when you're going through and looking at some of these prices. European versions are usually a bit cheaper. Not sure why, but they just are. So just keep that in mind. So Xenoblade Chronicles 2 Torna the Golden Country is $89.99 brand new. Okay, this was MSRP $39.99. If you bought it within Xenoblade Chronicles 2 as downloadable content, it was just for the $30, right? It was just $30 for the DLC that you can buy, add on for Xenoblade Chronicles 2, and you got it. So this is a pretty big markup when it comes down to it. It's DLC on a cart, and some of my rules with games like this is always like, if you see DLC on a cart as a standalone, you buy it, because the company's never going to manufacture or produce a lot of those. If it's on the Nintendo Switch cartridge, you get that. And Torna is just one of those games where people want that. They want that elusive cartridge that Nintendo didn't make a ton of those, but sat on store shelves for quite some time. I actually bought a copy of Xenoblade Chronicles 2 Torna the Golden Country for $25 at Target back, in 2018 or whatever it was. It was super cheap for a brand new copy. I still have my brand new copy because I did buy it through Xenoblade Chronicles 2, so I had a digital copy of the game. But as a standalone, you can play it as just that. Has its own screen on the Nintendo Switch or own Square. And yeah, it's right there, but it's $89.99. And that's actually a bit lower than I've seen it at times. That's gotten all the way up to $179. I think some of the prices still are above $100, but that's the cheapest price that I've been able to see it so far. It's about $89.99 brand new on Amazon, but it's definitely been higher than that. At one point, I saw it like $179. So yeah, if you can get it for this price, that's actually pretty good. Now, next up, we've got the NES Franchise. This is a franchise that's bringing out more and more games on the Nintendo Switch. There are a number of games already, but I'm just going to be going over 2 of those games, but I highly recommend getting any NES games. Pick those up, especially if it's at MSRP or under MSRP. Get those games, because Lacrimosa of Dana ranges. This is NES 8 Lacrimosa of Dana. It's anywhere between $60 used and $80 plus brand new. Like Nihon Falcon and also NIS America, they did not make a lot of copies of the Switch version. They did do some reprints, which helped out a bit with used copies and getting some more copies in circulation, but it's still a game that's not going to be underneath MSRP when it comes to a brand new copy of the game. They're going for $80 plus from what I've seen online, and that could go up with some of the auctions. So NES 8, if you could pick that up, definitely get it. In Europe, it is a bit cheaper. You can find some different prices for it. Also, NES Origin, definitely suggest picking that game up. It's only $40. That's probably going to be a game that's going to balloon in price, 10 years down the line or something like that. It's like this obscure NES game when it comes down to it. You want to play like the original ones, and it's going to be like $100 or something crazy, right? So I think that the NES games are always safe to pick up when it comes to collector's editions and all that. Now to the next franchise, the Bravely Default / Team Asano / HD 2D type of games that have came out on the Nintendo Switch. Bravely Default 2, Octopath Traveler, Triangle Strategy. These are always the type of titles that you should definitely pick up on the Nintendo Switch. There's always a sweet spot if you don't buy them day one. If you wait just a little bit, like anywhere between 7 to 8 months afterwards, you might be able to get it for like $29.99 or $39.99. But after that, and once the stock starts getting a bit more scarce, they always jump right back up. And that's exactly what happened with Bravely Default 2. People were saying, oh, well, why is that game on the list, OJ, on Twitter? Because that game, like, I got it for this low price, or I got it for this. Well, if you go back on Amazon, it's back up to $53. They're only going to do like one print run of these popular but not super popular RPGs. Yeah, they'll sell 1 million, maybe 1.5 or 2, but it doesn't really get much higher than that, and they're not going to continue putting up with these cartridge costs when it comes to consistently printing it if people aren't like buying them in mass, like a Pokemon, for example, or a Mario or a Zelda, right? So that's the reason why you get these like ebbs and flows and like these swings with prices. And right now, Bravely Default 2 is definitely going to be one of those games that ends up being rare in the future. So you should definitely pick it up now if you can. It's $53. You might be able to get it cheaper on some places. I have seen it lower on eBay, brand new. You might be able to get it there. So check and see what the best price is for it, but I highly recommend it because not only is it a good game, all these games are good, but once again, if you're a collector, this could go up in price later down the line. Now, next up is Octopath Traveler. This is the game that kind of started it all for the Team Asano and the HD 2D, and this game has just been expensive since day one, and there's been very little sales on the game. I remember, I think back in like 2019, you were able to get Octopath Traveler for a little bit cheaper, but then it really never like lost momentum after that. It's $65 brand new. Used copies, you can maybe get it for a little bit cheaper than that, but for the most part, you're gonna be spending $65 or more. That is like the lowest price that I've seen for the game. So this game is a 2018 title and it's above MSRP, so you already know, obviously stock is something that is not in abundant supply with Octopath Traveler. Now, if you have the special edition of the game, you can command upwards of $150 or more for a game like that, and I actually do have it as well. So if you're looking for the special edition, it's even more obviously than the regular edition because they didn't make a lot of those either. Now, Triangle Strategy, this game just came out. It's still MSRP for $60. You might be able to get it for $50 like at some places, but for the most part it's $60. And the reason why I say this is because I think that Square Enix even had probably less expectations for Triangle Strategy than maybe Octopath Traveler or Bravely Default 2, since it's a strategy RPG and that genre isn't as popular as a regular turn-based RPG or as like a sequel. So Bravely Default, that's like a game that's been out a couple of times beforehand, right? With Bravely Default, then Bravely Second End Layer. Now you also have Bravely Default. They've also been like the smartphone stuff with Bravely series. So it's known a little bit more. So I'm guessing that Square Enix maybe didn't have as much confidence in Triangle Strategy. And I think that that's gonna play into the stock of this game. So I think that since this game is new, you can wait a little bit. I just kind of wanted to put an alert out there that, hey, look out for the first sale of Triangle Strategy. If you don't want to buy it, you know, at this point for $60, that's okay. You can get it later down the line. Maybe Black Friday, there might be like a $40 deal or something like that, or there might be like a $30 deal for it. Pick it up then, keep it sealed, and that game is probably going to go up in value because of the type of cult status that game is already building with strategy RPG fans and the story and how it does. It's very unique and it's very good. So I think that that game is going to jump up in value later down the line. Now, last but definitely not least, we got a game that recently came out as well, and that is Chrono Cross. And some people asked me about this on Twitter as well, like, hey, well, why is this game? Why do you have this game on the list? And the reason why I have this game on the list is because it's PlayerAsia only. It's import only. Like, you can't buy Chrono Cross, the Radical Dreamers Edition physical in the US or in Europe. You have to go through a specialty site that imports. PlayerAsia is that site, and it's only $40 for that import. Now's the time to get it, because Chrono Cross is one of those games that Square Enix might not ever do anything with this game in our lifetime again. It's been how many years at this point for an official re-release of Chrono Cross? They skipped over how many HD systems when it comes to the generations, right? This is a PS1 game. The PS2, they didn't do anything. The PS3, they didn't do anything. The PS4, for the most part, they didn't do anything. Now we're all the way in the PS5, Switch, and Xbox era. They finally say, okay, we'll do something. It's been decades. So this could actually end up being very rare if this never gets re-released again, never gets a remake, never gets another remaster. This could be the final hurrah for this game. So I think that this is the time to pick it up when it's cheap. Maybe 10 years from now or 15 years from now, it's going to be worth a lot more down the line, because I doubt they made many cartridges, because Chrono Cross is not a popular IP. The Chrono series is not super popular. It's a cult hit. It's big in certain circles, but it's not as big as Final Fantasy. It's not as big as some of these other RPGs that they've released. Only PlayerAsia double packs like Final Fantasy 7 or 8, and there's a lot more of those. This is a lot more niche type of game. So I think that they probably made less copies of this game. So for 40 bucks right now, plus the shipping, it is a no-brainer for me. Not saying that you're gonna love the game. I like Chrono Cross, I like it, but the game is reviewing okay. I think it's a good game, and I loved it back when I played it, and I love it again. I'm gonna play it on my Nintendo Switch, probably buy it on Xbox and PlayStation as well, just so I can support all three systems that it's on, consoles at least. So I think that it's a game that you should maybe pick up, check out, and it could be worth something in the future. But this is just volume 1 of my Nintendo Switch Collector's Edition, and I will be having more games to the list. Once again, this isn't everything, just games that we can go over in the allotted time that I do have. But what are some games that you'd like to see me cover, and why on the Nintendo Switch? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. All right, guys, that wraps it up for this video here. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, click that notification bell, and we will see you for the next video. Peace.